What if I told you that 5 wooden ships, crewed by outlaws and rebels, once reshaped global trade, terrified kings, and rewrote the rules of naval warfare? These weren't just pirate ships. They were floating revolutions, engines of chaos that changed history itself. From Blackbeard's monstrous Queen Anne's Revenge to the fabled wreck of the Whydah Gally, each vessel you're about to discover left a permanent scar on the world's oceans. And by the end, you'll see that piracy wasn't just about gold. It was about power, technology, and fear. If you love uncovering the darker corners of history, where truth hides behind myth, then make sure you subscribe right now and hit the bell icon, because every week we dive deep into the legends that shaped our world. Now, hoist the sails. These are the top 5 pirate ships that changed history. Adventure Galley, the hybrid weapon of William Kidd. Our first ship wasn't even built for piracy, but it became the spark that set off one of history's most infamous downfalls. In 1695, Captain William Kidd was granted royal commission to hunt pirates in the Indian Ocean. His ship, the Adventure Galley, was a technological marvel for its time. Most ships relied solely on wind. The Adventure Galley had both sails and oars, meaning Kidd could pursue his targets even in dead calm waters, while others sat helpless. But that hybrid design came at a cost. It was heavy, slow to maintain, and required a massive crew to row. When pay ran out and morale dropped, Kidd's men turned restless. Soon, accusations spread that Kidd himself had crossed the line from hunter to pirate. By the time Adventure Galley limped into Madagascar, rotting and diseased, the ship was a floating symbol of betrayal, both of empire and of the man who sailed her. When Kidd was eventually executed in 1701, his ship's story became a warning. Even those fighting piracy could become what they feared. But the next ship on our list didn't just cross the line, it obliterated it. Queen Anne's Revenge, the floating fortress of Blackbeard. If Adventure Galley was born from empire's hypocrisy, Queen Anne's Revenge was pure rebellion. Originally a French slave ship called La Concorde, she was captured by Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard, in 1717. Teach transformed the vessel into a monster. 40 cannons, reinforced hull, black flags flying, and a crew that obeyed not out of fear, but respect. In 1718, he blockaded the port of Charleston, South Carolina, halting all trade for an entire week. Imagine the chaos. Dozens of ships trapped in harbor, terrified merchants, the colony begging for mercy while Blackbeard demanded medical supplies. It worked. No navy in the New World had ever seen anything like it. The Queen Anne's Revenge wasn't just a pirate ship, it was a statement. Piracy could challenge empires. But power always burns fast. Later that year, the ship ran aground near North Carolina, possibly on purpose. Some say Blackbeard scuttled her to escape with the treasure. Others believe the reefs claimed her by chance. Either way, her wreck was rediscovered in 1996, and what archaeologists found revealed how advanced pirates really were. Custom-modified guns, surgical tools, and imported glass from France. She was chaos, but she was organized chaos, and she changed how navies saw pirate warfare forever. But while Blackbeard's ship terrified the living, the next one left behind something far rarer, proof that pirate treasure was real. Whydah Gally, the treasure ship that sank a legend. When the Whydah Gally went down in 1717, it carried gold, silver, and stories that would haunt Cape Cod for centuries. Originally built as a slave ship, the Whydah was captured by Samuel, Black Sam Bellamy, a pirate known as the Robin Hood of the sea. Bellamy was no cutthroat. He was a strategist. He targeted only ships worth taking and treated his crew as equals. Within a year, Bellamy had amassed one of the largest fortunes in piracy. But fate turned cruel. A storm off Massachusetts shattered the Whydah, killing Bellamy and most of his 145-man crew. For centuries, locals told tales of gold washing ashore and ghostly lights flickering on the beach. Then in 1984, explorers finally found the wreck, the first authenticated pirate shipwreck ever discovered. Inside were weapons, coins, pistols, and personal items that told the human story of piracy, ordinary men chasing impossible dreams. The Whydah Gally didn't just change history, it proved that the legends were true, and its rediscovery turned pirates from myth into tangible history, launching decades of new archaeological research. But while the Whydah ended in tragedy, the next ship thrived, building an empire of plunder under a captain who treated piracy like a business. Royal Fortune, the empire of Black Bart Roberts. If Blackbeard was terror and Bellamy was idealism, then Bartholomew Black Bart Roberts was efficiency. His ship, the Royal Fortune, wasn't just powerful, it was professional. Between 1719 and 1722, Roberts captured over 400 ships, more than any other pirate in the Golden Age. He ruled with a strict code of conduct: no gambling, no theft among crew, and fair shares of plunder. His flagship was fitted with over 40 cannons and sleek lines that made her both fast and deadly. Roberts's piracy was so organized that historians call it corporate piracy. He operated fleets, negotiated alliances, and used fear as a marketing tool. His black flag depicted himself holding a flaming sword, standing on two skulls labeled ABH, a Barbadian's head, and AMH, a Martinican's head. But his success drew attention. In 1722, the Royal Fortune faced the British warship Swallow off the coast of Africa. A single cannon shot killed Roberts instantly. His men wrapped his body in sailcloth and threw it overboard, fulfilling his wish never to be taken alive. Even after his death, Roberts's legend forced the British Navy to overhaul anti-piracy patrols across the Atlantic. He had shown the world that piracy could be an organization, not just anarchy at sea. But none of it would have been possible without the ship that started the globalization of piracy, a vessel so fast it outran entire empires. Fancy, the speed demon that shook empires. Before Blackbeard, before Bellamy, there was Henry Every, captain of the Fancy. In 1694, Every staged a mutiny aboard an English privateer called the Charles II. He and his men seized control, renamed her Fancy, and set course for the Indian Ocean, a place few Western pirates had ever dared to go. Sleek, heavily armed, and stripped of excess weight, Fancy became one of the fastest ships of her time. And in 1695, she achieved the impossible, capturing the Ganges Sawai, the Mughal Empire's royal treasure ship, one of the richest vessels ever to sail. The loot was beyond comprehension: gold, jewels, silver, and the raid sparked international outrage. The Mughal emperor demanded justice, threatening to close British trading ports across India. Every vanished soon after, disappearing with his crew and his fortune. He was never seen again. That single raid nearly collapsed the East India Company's reputation and forced England to strengthen maritime law worldwide, all from one ship and one man who decided to gamble against empire. The Fancy showed that piracy wasn't local, it was global, and it marked the beginning of an age where a single rogue captain could disrupt nations halfway across the world. Why these ships still matter. 5 ships, 5 stories, 5 turning points in how we understand power at sea. Adventure Galley blurred the line between lawful and lawless. Queen Anne's Revenge weaponized fear. Whydah Gally turned legend into archaeology. Royal Fortune industrialized piracy. And Fancy proved that rebellion could go global. Each ship reflected a deeper truth, that piracy thrived wherever authority grew corrupt. When governments taxed too much, or navies served the few, the sea offered freedom, brutal, uncertain, but free. And centuries later, their impact still echoes in maritime law, in folklore, even in our idea of the anti-hero. But here's the question no one can answer. How many ships like these are still waiting, buried beneath the waves, holding untold stories of power, greed, and freedom. From the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean, these 5 ships weren't just instruments of theft, they were instruments of change. They exposed how fragile empire really was and reminded the world that the sea belongs to no one. If you enjoyed uncovering the real stories behind pirate legends, don't sail away just yet. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and tell us in the comments, which of these ships would you have joined and why? Because here, we don't just tell stories, we resurrect the ones history tried to sink.